Hey, kings and queens, it's your girl, Valencia Griffin-Wallace, and welcome to a Define You Radio Facebook Live Edition pop-up. So when you get here, go ahead and say, hey, hopefully y'all can hear me. So I'm just going to wait a moment before I get started because I think this is a very important topic for women and men who, you know, having to deal with being motherless on Mother's Day. So I'm going to wait a moment. And when you get here, go ahead and say, hey, boo. And then we'll get started. Class is in session. Awesome. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you like, love, and share the video. So first of all, my name is Valencia Griffin-Wallace, and I almost blogged about this today, but I felt it was a very important topic. Hey, hun, thank you guys so much for joining me. Like I said, I almost blogged about this today because it's a very important topic, and a lot of people have asked me this, being motherless on Mother's Day. So I'm going to just be honest. So for those of you guys that don't know, and like I said, make sure you like, love, share the video and say, hey, boo, I have to throw that in there. So just a little bit about my story. In case you don't know, my mom was a drug addict and she was murdered when I was 17. And now I am 42. So that's a whole lot of motherless Mother's Days. But I think a lot of times people may take motherless to mean like your mother has died. But if you have a mom that you have cared for, if you're, adopted and maybe don't know your mom, if you have a mom that doesn't like to deal with you, these are all things that can make you be motherless. And Mother's Day, so I want to tell you guys that too. And you can find out more about that story in my book, Motherless Child, which if you go to the website, valenciagwallace.com, you could connect with me, inbox me if you are interested in that book. I know a lot of the people watching and listening have read Motherless Child, and I appreciate you guys' support. So I just wanted to define motherless to you guys. And if you could drop in the comments what motherless means to you, or if you're dealing with something like that. I don't want to expose anybody or anything like that. And everybody has to embrace their own truth. Because I'm going to be honest, before my mom died, we did not have a mother-daughter relationship. Addiction took that away from me, and we were more like friends. Or I was more like the parent. So after losing her, I was angry and went through a whole series of emotions. But when I became a mom, I was 20. In between then, I never really celebrated Mother's Day. Even now, it's a battle for me because, I have most of my friends do have their, and the link is bit.ly/motherless child. Let me throw that out there. A lot of my friends still have their moms. And so they're out celebrating, making plans. Well, Valencia doesn't do that. Even before my mom died, there was no big Mother's Day plans. Now, I did used to, when my mom passed, I did used to give my grandmother a Mother's Day card, or my aunt, T. Carla, I love you if you're watching, and things like that. So, but now, my grandmother's no longer here. I lost her in 2017. But I always battled with Mother's Day. I always did. And you have to, my only advice to people, and I'm specifically at this moment deal with people who have lost their mom, like your mom's dead. Let me tell you this. The pain doesn't necessarily change with time. You may still have your moments of grieving the loss of your mom, especially when everybody is posting, pictures with their moms on Mother's Day or making plans. I tend to shut down. And after the show later tonight, when we talk more about the book For a Mother's Heart, which is already a bestseller and hot new release, you could get that at bit.ly/4moms2019. But I'll shut down just because I don't feel any kind of way towards people that make those posts. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to protect yourself. And if you don't have that relationship with your mother, or you don't necessarily celebrate Mother's Day, or just with anything in life, you really have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. One of the things that I've learned over the time of doing Define You Radio is, and I can't remember what guest said this, but she says your mom teaches you how to, hey, hun, how to deal with other women, right? So if you look at the relationship you have with your mom now, in the past, or whatever else, and look at how you deal and have relationships with other women, it's a very telling sign. The relationship with my mom was a very different and difficult one, all the way up into her death. So, yeah, it explains my relationship with a lot of women these days, and I keep my circle very small. One of the things that I can say, that kind of helped me along the way, and may help you queens if you don't have a mom or don't have that ideal Cosby Show, Brady Bunch, what have you, mom, is to find a woman mentor. But when I say mentor, I'm saying someone that the things that you would normally get from a mother, or, by textbook, you should get from a mom, that you can get from her, whether it's deep conversations, whether it's an emotional connection or something of that. I have a relationship like with Queen Shannon's mom. I love Queen Shannon's mom, Miss Ruth. I love her. And she gives me, when I'm around her, she gives me a very, like, a motherly vibe. And there's very few women, Minister Teresa, who I love. There's few women in my life who I could pull from a somewhat mothering relationship, if that makes sense. And that works for me. That may not be what works for you, or you may not have that person in your life. But I'm just telling you what has worked for me. I'm not a psychologist, so maybe at this time I should say a disclaimer, but what I am is a woman who lost her mom in a horrific way. And even when my mom wasn't alive, we really didn't have that relationship. And since I get asked that question often, I felt like I would address it, because I'm not the only one who don't really celebrate Mother's Day, or, Mother's Day has some sort of feeling behind it to you. And sometimes I'll spend Mother's Day crying, or sometimes, like I said, I'll shut down. Sometimes, my son and my husband will take me out to eat. It varies from year to year, and I don't feel bad about that. So if you are grieving in that way for your mom, or the loss of that relationship, don't feel bad about it, and don't deny it to yourself. So that would be my first tip, because y'all know class is always in session. Definitely having relationships with other women, and making sure they're healthy. Don't emotionally attach yourself to women that are users or abusers, or trying to, downplay you, downgrade you, whatever. None of that. Because that does happen. Like I said, your mom teaches you how to have relationships with other women. Yeah. So those are some of the tips. And if you have recently lost your mom, some people, this may be your first year without having your mom to celebrate Mother's Day with. And the one thing I would tell you is, don't deny your feelings. I'm a firm believer in that, because you push things down and you don't deal with it, it'll hurt you more in the long run. That's so truthful. If your mom may be incapacitated, or you're caring for your mother, to where your mother may be more of a burden than a blessing, that's something you'd have to be honest with yourself about. So your Mother's Day this year may be different from last year. Maybe your mom is not a good mom. And let's be honest, you could look at the news. You could look at the news and see examples of that. of mothers doing things to their children that to us is pretty much unthinkable. Y'all know I'm a child advocate here in Louisiana, and I've seen and heard some stuff. And the only thing I could say with being motherless on Mother's Day, you have to find your own way. It's the answer may not be in a book. It may not be in this Facebook Live. It may not be anywhere. The answer to how you deal with being motherless on Mother's Day is really inside of you, but you have to be the one to decide to deal with that. And that's just me being honest. And I could guarantee you, whether you have your mom or don't, no mom is perfect, which was the purpose of some of the honesty and some of the realness for for a mother's heart. Is you have women that dealt with different things with being a mom, that share some of their struggles and tears and the things that you may need to go to the next day. You may not feel like you're a mother, so you may not celebrate Mother's Day because you feel like you're not a good mom. And to that I say, don't be so hard on yourself. Kids are not easy. Being a woman in America especially is not easy. Being a mother, and I mean a real mom, because even a dog could give birth. That doesn't make it a mother, okay? But being a mother, you're out there, you're dealing with so much stuff. You may be feeling suicidal or depressed. You may be dealing with some residue from your past or whatever. I don't know. It's a hard job. It's a hard job. So I just wanted to step in just really quick on this pop-up live because I'm having a lazy day because the weather out here was disgusting, and just kind of touch on that. And if you guys have any comments, I'll go ahead and questions or comments, I'll address them while I'm here. Queen Ashanti asked, did I experience isolation or retaliation from family members for telling your truth? Yes. I'm gonna be honest. Ashanti always, y'all gotta love Queen Ashanti Barnes. Y'all follow her. So, kind of rewinding back to Motherless Child, where I talk about growing up with my mom being in addiction, and I was honest with how everybody treated her, including me, including my family. I was told by a family member that they only received $96 for me and my baby sister, and my book disgusted them. So that's the truth of now how they know that they only got $96 for me and my sister. I don't know, didn't ask. I wanted to come back with a text message with every curse word and even invent some. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna lie. And it hurt because here it is. I spilled my truth. If you read Motherless Child, you know it was about things I did growing up with my mom being an addict. And if I didn't tell the truth about how she was treated, what's the purpose in doing the book? That's nonfiction. And so I wanted to come and text and do all kind of stuff. I'm serious. I almost got in a car and pulled a G baby, but I said, that I didn't respond at all. And if that person is on this live, or if that person sees this live, I was the bigger person because I did not expose you. I changed names in the book, but for me to say I'm telling my truth and telling my mom's truth and not expose how my mother was treated would have been a lie. Sometimes people will use their guilt and make you feel some kind of way. So who knows? I may write another book and entitle it 96. But if $96 was all my self-esteem was worth, then shame on you. That's real talk. Shame on you. So I'm looking in the comments. If you guys have any questions, I'll be on here for, another minute or two. So imagine dealing with that. And I'll answer them, and I'll be 100% honest with you guys, because at the point in my life where I'm at, I had to I learned a long time ago to not care about what other people think about me or say about me. I just want people to be brave enough to say it in my face. Like I talk about Facebook gangsters and Facebook bullies or whatever. Um, you should be brave enough to say it to somebody's face or don't say it. That's my 10 cents on that. So kind of rewinding to being motherless on Mother's Day. And let's talk about the relationships that you may have with your mom that's still alive. And if y'all see me looking this way, it's because the comments are over here because my webcam's right here in front of me. Um, being a mom is not easy. And a mom is still a whole person before you come into this world. And I think we forget that. That was the key to me forgiving my mom, was realizing she was a whole person before I was thought of. They're not perfect. Another question in the comments, what lessons did I miss from my mom but was able to learn in order to pass on to your son? Whew, that's a good question. Um, what I learned from my mom, I learned how to put on makeup. I learned how to walk being knock-kneed. Okay, these are the things I remember. But um, what did I pass on to my son? That nobody's gonna love you more than your mom, whether she knows how to show it or not. Real quick, when my mom was pregnant with me, and Laquisha, I'm gonna get to your question. My mom was 17 when she was pregnant with me, and I actually have the news clip of her and her friends getting in a fight while she was pregnant with me. So the fact that I am the way I am should be no shock, no shock. But I taught my son that regardless of how I may act sometimes, and I'm not perfect, but I'm that person that will give my life, and that's what I passed on to Cameron. And also, since addiction runs in the family, to stay away from that. And I was always very open and honest. So that's what I learned. And that's what I taught him, you know. So Naquisha asks, what would I say to a person who has a parent that is still an addict and they don't want a relationship with that parent? If y'all know, if y'all, yes, knock me, but I'm cute though. Thanks, Queen. Um, I rarely talk about my father for several reasons. And whenever I do talk about him, I'm very honest about it. He is still battling addiction. He's still battling addiction. And um I battle with having a relationship with him. So I'm gonna kind of do two on one, because whether or not I do a how to deal with being fatherless on Father's Day, and my father is still living, that's a whole other thing. Um, I sometimes I don't want to deal with him, and then I feel bad for that. But the one thing I would say, and I'm gonna be 100, if if he died, I would feel even worse. And it's a battle every day. So the one thing I would say, try if you can to look past the addiction, right? Try to think about X stories, X people you know. Hey, who was my mom or who was my dad before they became an addict? Because they weren't born addicts. A lot of times, and I'm not an addiction counselor, I just only could tell you my personal experience with having parents dealing with addiction. And your parents could not have substance abuse, but other addiction issues, right? Um, it's a reason why people would rather do drugs or alcohol versus dealing with life. And I've said this before. If I had the tolerance to do drugs, I probably would be a drug addict. But not not me now. Me in the back. In my past, because it's easier to not deal with stuff than to deal with it. That's why one of my tips that I would leave y'all with, definitely on Mother's Day, is to deal with it. Deal with your mom may not be perfect. Deal with your mom may be crap. Deal with your mom, the fact that your mom may be dead. Just deal with it. You can't go back and ask for another mother. Ashanti asked, do I consider myself a fatherless child? Definitely. definitely. And like I said, one day I am going to write that book about my dad, but there's parts of me that's waiting on him to forgive himself and to heal. Because everything to me, when you write a book, hey hun, everything to me, I gave your mom a shout out, Queen Shannon. Everything to me has to have a conclusion. My relationship with my mother had a conclusion only because she died. So it was finished for her. It wasn't finished for me. So I had to finish it and forgive her. The relationship with my father, like I said, is something I battle with. Because I was a daddy's girl. I would fight you behind my daddy. But the daddy who I had in my mind is not the actual daddy I have. So yes, I definitely consider myself a fatherless child. That's why I write so much. And that's one of the reasons why I said I'm gonna publish at least one book a year until the day I die. That was the gift from both of my parents. So it kind of brings it back to, like, if you don't have a perfect relationship with your parents, for instance, there is something that they pass through their very DNA that was worth it. You know, my mom was a writer. My dad was a very creative person. So I do what I do because of them, even though they were, crap parents. You can always find something good, even if it's like this little. You can always find something good in the worst places, and the worst place may be in your parents. If you're motherless, like, your parents, your mom's died, um, spend time thinking about the good things. Like I said, my mom was a drug addict the majority of her life, um, that I was here for, if that makes sense. But I remember watching her burning eyeliner. Thank God, we got better eyeliner today. But I remember watching her burn eyeliner, the wood eyeliner, and put it on her eyes. I remember her saying, you knock me, so I'm gonna have to teach you how to walk cute. I remember that. I mean, I have too many good memories, but they're still there. So even if you have that one or two, it's still there. You hang on to that one good. It may be a whole lot of negative. I don't think about, the time I bust up in the crack house because I hadn't seen my mom for weeks and I wanted to see her. I bust up in the whole crack house. I don't think about that. I think about it and laugh now, but I'm at a different place. So the one good memory you have, and it may be from when you were 2 or 3. It may be from when you are, or 2, 3, or whatever. And let's say you don't have no memories at all. Let's say you were adopted or your parents passed you off, you never knew. At least they gave you birth. If you don't have nothing else to hang on to, hang on to that. Look up the what you call it, the stats of abortion. You could have been aborted. These are facts. But apparently the mother, good, bad, or indifferent, said, okay, can't deal with this kid. I may not love this kid enough to take care of them, but I love this kid enough to give them life. That fact alone, I could drop the mic and walk away. Oh, look at my husband. Um, what is the best gift a mother wife could get? You're so crazy. We'll talk about that when I get off of here. I just want office stuff. Okay, I just want stuff in my office, and that's what I want for Mother's Day. Yeah, don't encourage him. Don't encourage Mr. Wallace's foolishness. Um, so that's all I have to say. I will wait a minute or two to see if anybody has any other questions. I'm not an expert with dealing with your feelings. I'm just a real woman who is 42, and who lost their mom when they were 17. So I have a lot more real experience than most. And I'm honest about it. People don't want to be honest, or they'll tell you get over it or whatever else, but that's not reality. That's not. It's a hard thing, and like I said, if you connected with me on social media, most likely I'll be shut down for the weekend because I have to process it and deal with it my own way, even after all this time. So I'm gonna rewind the tips. And my husband it just came home, y'all. He is so disrespectful. He is so very disrespectful. But just to kind of rewind the tips, my number one tip with being motherless on Mother's Day or for fatherless on Father's Day, I may or may not deal with that then. Is to just deal with it. Don't deny it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty. It is what it is. Deal with it. Your mom may be dead. She may be incapacitated. She may suck. Just deal with it. Um, close number two, close relationships. Find, your connection with women that may have motherly qualities and be mindful of that. So your and friendships, the people you connect with, your friends' moms. Like I said, I love Shannon's mom. Um, those things do help. They help. But at the end of the day, you are a motherless child. Claim it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like it's just you. Um, if you need to cry on Mother's Day, if you need to go hit a punching bag, if you need to go run a couple of miles like Rocky, do what you need to do. Is it fair? No. It freaking sucks. But it is what it is. Um, what else? I think that was it. That was all I had to say. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have supported the movement of moms that said, you know what, they don't give you a manual when you leave the hospital. So let's just kind of break this thing down that'll keep you uh going. For a mother's heart, get it while it's still on Mother's Day special for $2.99. The link for that is bit.ly/4moms2019. You can follow me on social media or whatever, connect with me, whatever. Y'all know I give it to you straight because guess what? It is what it is. So with that being said, peace and love. Enjoy your Friday. Hopefully we'll be able to do a pop-up. No, well, I guess it's not a pop-up if I'm announcing it. Live tonight to talk more about the book and what it's like for real moms. Because you're going to question yourself. My child is 22, and I still wonder if I done messed him up along the way. That's real talk. So, with that being said, peace, love. Thank you guys so much for watching. Talk to you soon.